Another item in your column was about Justin Fields, and it's entirely. I mean, everyone went crazy over the throw that Zach Wilson made in his pro day. I mean, Fields had some remarkable throws, athletic ability on display at his pro day. Runs a 4.4 40. I mean, what is going on with him? It's entirely possible that that's the guy that Shanahan's identified too. Wouldn't you say?
It could be. I don't know, but he is the guy who you hear might drop a little bit. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. What if Justin Fields is sitting there, let's say at 9 or 10? Do the Patriots say, "Look, let's stop fooling around and trade up to 10 or 11 and just get Justin Fields, even if it costs us next year's one"? I have no idea. Maybe Chicago would offer more than that, if they'd be willing to go down to 20. I don't know. But anyway, I guess my overarching point about Justin Fields is, I wrote about Dan Orlovsky. I got great regard for Dan Orlovsky. I think he's really, really good analyst, and I just think he went too far with his comments last week. But I will say this. I don't know how you question the desire of a guy who last year became the point man for all players in the Big Ten.
To play.
Got all these players to sign a petition for Kevin Winston that they wanted the season to go on safely. And I don't know how you question a guy's desire when he takes as big a hit as he might ever take the rest of his football career, misses one snap against Clemson, beats Trevor Lawrence, and throws 4 touchdown passes the rest of the way. So again, you hear some things around draft time every year. Some things you just have to say, I don't care if this is a guy I trust. I just simply don't buy it. And I am not buying that Trevor Lawrence has got some questionable desire or whatever to be great.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Justin Fields has got a tremendous amount of upside, and I don't know if it's an Ohio State thing because the last guy that came out of Ohio State, and Dwayne Haskins, had some issues in the pros, and it's just again though the whole conversation you hear from evaluators and from what you're hearing and what have you have no idea sometimes if that's somebody maybe in the middle of the draft who's trying to get someone to drop, and then they become, attached at the hip for years to come, and the player doesn't know that the team did that.
I'm negative about that, Rich.
What is it?
Because if I am calling someone, asking them for an opinion on it, and let's say Team X is picking 17th, and the coach or scout or GM for Team X says, hey, I'm going to plant with as many as my buddies in the media as I can that this guy is lazy and he doesn't work and all that stuff. And then Team X then picks Justin Fields. Let me just ask you this. Would any of those guys who he planted that with, would they trust him about anything from here on out? I know I wouldn't. So I know that that's a popular conspiracy theorist tool, saying that it's a smokescreen just to get you guys to downgrade him. I've not found that to be as common, and I'm not saying it never happens, but I'm not finding that is as common as some people think it is.
But I mean, I've been around some combines. This year we didn't have one, so there's been less of it, Peter. I mean, you hear it from scouts who might not even have a say in the room. You know what I'm saying? And so I'd understand that from an actual grocery shopper saying that stuff. I wouldn't trust that person again either. But you hear agents, you hear all sorts of garbage, and that's why you rarely hear an analyst say what Dan said publicly. Because, again, I don't want to source anything or anything like that, but I guess we'll find out down the road here. But Justin Fields is he's not going to have a very long night in Cleveland, Ohio, I don't think, at all. That would be a shocker to me.
I wouldn't think so.
Right.
But I do think this, Rich, every year, don't you think this year and I just talked to Mel Kiper for my podcast this week. And one of the things I said to him is, don't you think this year, as much as ever, that the quarterbacks are getting pushed up the board?
Yeah, why is
and
that?
some potentially really great players obviously are getting pushed down the board.
Right.
So that's why I think this draft is really going to be a lot of fun. Because what if Kyle Pitts, who some people think might be the best tight end to ever come out in the draft, what if he gets picked 10th or 11th or 12th? I'm not saying he will. I doubt he will. He might get picked 3rd or 4th, or 4th maybe. But some things are going to happen in this draft that I think are going to, because everybody is just obsessed with the draft now. I think some things are going to happen in this draft that'll take your breath away.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.